These days, it's hard to find an anime game that truly represents its source material, but defying all odds, Bandai Namco released JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R, a remake of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle. And to my surprise, it was a well-made anime fighting game chock full of references that fans adored. It even sold pretty well in the beginning. So why was the player base so keen to leave the game so quickly after launch? Well, to find out, let's take a deeper look into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R. Bandai Namco first announced that they would be releasing a remake of the CyberConnect 2 developed JoJo's All-Star Battle on March 9th, 2022 during a PlayStation State of Play to be released in the early fall of that same year. It's fair to say that JoJo fans were thrilled about this reveal. The original All-Star Battle was a PS3 exclusive and received generally favorable reviews. It was most applauded for its fan service, however, many were critical of its unbalanced fighting system and its campaign mode that encouraged microtransactions. So, a remake that could bring the game to PS5, PS4, Nintendo Switch, Xbox One, and PC via Steam that could fix balancing issues, add new characters, and update the gameplay and visuals seemed perfect, not only for JoJo fans, but also for fans of fighting games. During this announcement, it was also revealed that the anime voice actors would be recording the lines for their parts in-game. You see, at the time of the original All-Star Battle's release, the only parts of the anime that had aired were parts 1 and 2, so the anime voice actors from those parts recorded their lines for the game, while every other part after that was original casting for the game specifically. With All-Star Battle R, they now had the ability to use the anime voice actors for parts 3 through 6. The release date for All-Star Battle R was announced in a trailer on May 26th, 2022 as September 2nd of that same year. The comments for this video were full of hype and JoJo references. To further the hype, there's a demo released on June 16th through the 22nd with players praising the updated fighting system, the enhanced visuals, and the new voice lines. On August 16th, 2022, Bandai released a trailer where Koichi narrated the game's mechanics and unique systems, which was an interesting concept for a trailer and a good sign of what to expect when it came to fan service in the final game. After multiple character trailers, announcements, and even an EVO side tournament, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle R launched on September 2nd, 2022 to generally favorable reviews. All-Star Battle R currently sits at a 73 critic score and a 7.7 user score on Metacritic. It's rated as very positive on Steam, but on Steam charts, it garnered 5,023 players in its launch month before falling to 783 the following month. According to Famitsu, All-Star Battle R for the Switch specifically was the highest selling new game of its week of release, selling 9,807 copies on the Switch alone. And according to the NPD group, All-Star Battle R charted as number 8 of the best-selling games for the entire month of September. So with its strong sales numbers and overall positive reception, why did the player base drop to 15% of its initial count? Of course, the majority of games will see a drop-off after the first month, but not 75% of its player base. While the game was being praised for its fan service and references, its fun and unique fighting system, its presentation and graphics, it was also being canned for one big reason by just about everyone: the online. To truly understand this game's inevitable demise and why it was such a missed opportunity, let's take a deeper look into the mechanics of JoJo's All-Star Battle R. All-Star Battle R is an interesting fighting game. While it's technically a 3D fighting game, it plays more so like a 2D fighting game, similarly to games like Tekken. Let's go over the controls, you can get a clear idea of how it plays. In terms of movement, you can move forward and backwards, dash and backdash, jump and directionally jump, as in jump forward or backwards. But what makes this 3D is that you can rotate either up or down, allowing you to sidestep as well as dodge attacks. In terms of attacks, you have a light, medium, and heavy attack, and like most 2D fighting games, you have high and low attacks. You also have an assist and a style move. Essentially, each character has a style. Some are unique to certain characters, like Speedwagon's Ogre Street, but others are more generalized, like the stand style. And their style determines what their style move does. For stand users, they simply turn on or off their stand, mounted users mount or dismount their horse, etc. In terms of other mechanics, every character has a throw, a chain beat, an easy beat, a heart heat attack, a great heat attack, a stylish evade, a stylish guard, a down evade, and multiple specials. The throw is your general throw. The chain beat is a simple combo executed by chaining a light attack to a medium attack, then a heavy attack. The easy beat is a combo executed by pressing the light attack button continually. You'll automatically do a light attack, a heavy attack, a special attack, and then your heart heat attack. A heart heat attack is a standard super move it requires 1 bar of meter. It can either be performed through the easy beat or by a set input depending on the character. The Great Heart Attack is a stronger super, it requires 2 bars of meter, and again, requires a specific set of inputs depending on the character. The Stylish Evade activates if you time a block just as an attack makes contact, allowing you to stylishly dodge it and sidestep. The Stylish Guard, on the other hand, is a stance that automatically stylishly evades for a few frames, but will leave you punishable if you don't evade. And, like most 2D fighting games, the specials are character-specific inputs. The gameplay is really solid. However, I wouldn't say it's as refined as other popular fighting games like Street Fighter, Tekken, and Dragon Ball FighterZ, but that is to be expected from a lower budget anime game. I've never played the original PS3 game, but from every source I've read online, they've said that the gameplay is vastly superior to the original, so I'll take their word for it. Despite it being less polished than other fighting games, its mechanics and Jojo flair make it a standout experience that's wholly unique from other games of the genre. Another detail that helps it set itself apart from other fighting games is its distinct visuals. If you've ever seen any amount of JoJo's, then you'll know that it has a very unique art style. And All-Star Battle R also has a very unique art style. It's interesting though because it clearly takes inspiration from the manga's art style while using the anime's color palette. That's not a bad thing, I just thought I'd point it out. The great presentation goes beyond just the art style. The animations are fluid and have that JoJo flair. There are even dramatic finishes that look great. And the homepage and UI design are also great. There's a number of different references present, from the loading icon to the pause menu, to having different characters explain menu options, harkening back to that original trailer. They really went all out with the presentation here. But the JoJo references don't end at merely the presentation. Every character feels unique to play, and every character is chock full of JoJo references, like Dio's ultimate being Road Roller, or Joseph having a counter where he can predict what his enemy will say. In addition to the references, there are many different characters that have their own mechanics, like Foo Fighters. That's also not even mentioning the different styles. Like I said before, in the gameplay section, each style has their own move. There's Hamon, that allows you to manually charge your meter, as well as imbue your specials with Hamon. Mode allows you to switch to an alternate state with different abilities. Stand lets you activate your stand and access new abilities. Mounted lets you mount or dismount your horse, and there are multiple unique styles. Ogre Street, Vampirism, Best Science in the World, Bro Anemone, and Boa and Armed Phenomenon. And just how many characters are there? In addition to the 32 base game and 14 DLC characters from the original game, there are 10 new base game characters for R, as well as 7 additional DLC characters, 2 of which are free. The characters span parts 1 through 8, with a guest appearance from one of JoJo's mangaka, Hirohiko Araki, other manga series, Bao. So, with all those characters, how can you actually experience the game? There are 9 total game modes in All-Star Battle R. All-Star Battle Mode, Arcade Mode, Versus Mode, Team Battle Mode, Tournament Mode, Practice Mode, Customize Mode, Gallery Mode, and Option Mode. Most of those are pretty self-explanatory, aside from All-Star Battle Mode. This mode is what replaced the poorly received Campaign Mode from the original game. In addition to the Campaign Mode being replaced, the Story Mode is also gone. The All-Star Battle Mode is alright. It's a series of what-if battles, each with their own special conditions, such as your enemy constantly regenerating health. Each battle is divided and themed into one of the 8 JoJo parts, each part featuring an unlockable boss fight centered around a major battle from said part. The fights can be fun in the beginning, but start to feel gimmicky later on, as you quickly realize that they're essentially just regular battles with one slight modification. I also dabbled a bit in arcade mode, and it's the same as every fighting game arcade mode ever. Despite being filled with JoJo references, the offline modes can't really hold your attention very long, and it definitely cannot sustain a large player base. That responsibility falls to the online, which just so happens to be single-handedly responsible for this game's demise. For most fighting games, their active player base is solely reliant on online play, and JoJo's All-Star Battle R fumbled the bag heavily. The online at launch was atrocious. There's no rollback netcode, and the game's delay-based netcode is inconsistent, not to mention the abundance of network and connection errors. These issues were what really killed the game and resulted in the sudden dip of players. Read any review of the game, and I guarantee they'll complain about the online. While the combat was deep enough to cater to non-JoJo fans, they had no reason to really play the game when the online was so insufferable compared to other fighters on the market. And JoJo fans who would stick with the game would opt for the offline modes to avoid the poor matches. However, there wasn't even enough offline content to keep fans playing for an extended period of time. Once you've seen all of the references and tried out all of your favorite characters, there isn't much else to do, which is where online should have stepped in. Bandai tried to keep the game alive by releasing multiple paid and a couple of free DLC characters, but without any substantial fixes for the online, new characters couldn't retain a solid player base. But what's most surprising is that there's still some people playing it. Comparing this game to other anime fighters, it still has players. As of writing the script, it currently has 209 active players, which is more than Storm Connections, which has 153 players, and is about the same as Jujutsu Kaisen's Cursed Clash at 215 players. I think this is a real testament to this game's quality. Despite not being a huge Jojo fan, I personally like this game. The gameplay was unique, the presentation was fun, and the character variety was also great. It just sucks that Bandai refuses to invest more into their anime games. While it's a fraction of its original player base, this game still has its fans, more so than some games released after it. And if Bandai had invested in good netcode from the beginning, or at least fixed it after release, then it definitely could have been a hit and sold even better than it already did.